Hi, Stamper fans. Welcome and thanks for joining me. Whether you're watching on Facebook or if you're catching the replay on YouTube, I'm so happy you're here. I'm Nan, and I help people slow down, get creative, and stay connected, whether that's crafting together or sending a handmade card that means something. So grab your favorite beverage and let's get ready to learn about some of the products that I use. There we go. Oh, give me a moment to brag on my husband. Thanks for the chocolates, honey. When Russ goes out of town, he usually leaves chocolates on my pillow, and I did not go upstairs yet. So I came down here to get ready for my live, and there was chocolates right where he knew I would find them immediately. So thank you, sweetheart. Because I regularly ask him to hide chocolates for me so I don't eat them all in one sitting. Oh my goodness. Anyway, tonight I am showcasing the Gears and Textures bundle. So I am a big fan of steampunk. I think I mentioned that on the last video I did a couple of weeks ago. If you are not familiar with the style, you might want to Google steampunk to get an idea, but it's basically like a Victorian era vibe with lots of technology like gears and pipes and levers and that kind of stuff, things like that. So I love that kind of vibe, and our team name is even the Steampunk Stampers. So when I saw this on pre-order, it's available for everybody now, I knew it was coming to my studio right away. Now, if this is not your style immediately, don't discount it, because I have lots of examples to show you tonight on how to switch this up to work for pretty much anybody on your list, okay? So the stamps and dies do coordinate with each other and complement each other. So here is the stamp set. I think it's a little easier to see with the cover art here. So you've got kind of three longer pieces, the chain, and then a ladder, and then I suppose it's like maybe a rebar piece. Somebody else might know exactly what that is. Like, I can picture it in my head, but I don't know what to call it. Then we've got some gears. We've got some Phillips and flathead screws. See, I know that one. And then some texture bits, chevrons, splatters, all sorts of fun little things that you can discover in this set that's not just gears, right? Now, let me pull the dies out because I think it's easier to see these kind of in person. By the way, when you get dies from Stampin' Up, they do not come on magnetic sheets. I always transfer mine to magnetic sheets. I find it easier. So I just don't want to mislead anybody. This is not how they come. So we have some things that will actually cut out these couple of gears. And then we have the small round here that'll cut out your screws. These will cut out the chains and the bars and the ladders, right? But they'll also, so you can also cut the chains out just from cardstock and not worry about stamping them, or you can stamp it and cut it out. The same thing with your bar or your ladder. You can cut them out just from cardstock or whatever, or you can stamp them and cut them out with the rectangle piece. So lots of variety in this, lots of flexibility in the way you do things. And then, as you can see, there's also some more gears that are not specific to the two that are in the stamp set. This little guy was confusing, as well as this little stamp. And I will show you what those combine to make in a little bit. So a little teaser for you, right? Okay, so let's start with a straightforward card that I made with this. This is one I made on my last video this month. It's your basic, gears and blacks and metallics and like all things masculine, right? It's a very kind of mechanic vibe to it, and it's great for the guys in your life. Absolutely. Next, I decided to add some I'm just going to start throwing stuff now and make a mess of my entire room. But next, I grabbed a piece of designer paper from the Nature Walk pack. That's this background paper here. So it comes, pre-done with the words on it. But what I did was I added some texture stamping to it. And then I embossed some chains and some gears and cut those out and added them. I then added a texture piece and then actually used this die to cut that out, not realizing that it wouldn't just cut out a big circle. It actually cuts out the middle circle as well. So you have that kind of outline circle, right? Which is great. I just didn't know that's what was going to happen. So I decided to go with it and offset it, which kind of adds to that little, machinery kind of vibe, and added some linen thread for some more texture. This is not my normal style. I usually have trouble with collage type stamping and assembling, but this was not a copy. This was straight out of my head, and it was really easy with this bundle. So if that's something that you have trouble with, I would recommend this bundle just for that. And there's plenty of online ideas for it as well. So let me throw that one over there. Okay, so next, let's take on a very different kind of vibe. I just used the dies plus one stamp and only black and white. And here is what we've come up with. And here is what those two dies right here. So this one was the black piece underneath, and this one is the white piece up top. And then that little stamp is the filament inside your light bulb. Thank goodness somebody shared that online, because it was going to take me forever to figure that out. So I'm sharing it with you so you don't have to figure it out. But otherwise, it's all dies and then a sentiment from another stamp set, and just black and white. And then I just drew in with a black marker just the lines for those light bulbs. So very minimalistic, very simple. And you could really do this in any color. So if you have a friend that you think would like this vibe, but maybe their favorite color is yellow or red or blue, you could just do all of that stamping and die cutting in that color and do the white with one other color. All right. Speaking of color, check out this one. So lots of fun. I did use my color coach, which we do sell. So if you're ever kind of that person that's like, I don't know what colors go together, or I can't decide what colors go together, that's usually me. It's like 50 different colors. It's hard for me to not be overwhelmed. So I usually decide on one, and then I'll just use the color coach from there. So for this one, I just did some random stamping with the splatters and the gears down the side. And then I took some die cuts and added those, added a sentiment, and then I added these gorgeous little glossy dots. Perfect for the inside of gears, right? Okay. Okay, so now let's switch gears. No pun intended. All right, seriously, if you know me, I intend all of my puns. I'm not a coward. I want to bring in a new tool that we have. This is the Stampin' Positioner. Yeah, that's the right way. And demonstrators were able to pre-order it last month in January. This is February, right? So we were able to pre-order this in January, and I absolutely love it. For those of you that have been around a bit and either got to use or have the Stamparatus, I loved that as well. I love this even more, and I'll show you a few things. I will tell you the only way you can get it right now is to purchase the starter kit, and it's a great deal, and then you get this free on top of all the other things in your starter kit. So that's a good thing to check out, right? Okay, so I'm going to use this tonight a couple of different ways, but first, there we go. I'm like, I have all this stuff pre-cut. I'm just going to show you a little bit of, we'll start it right about there. So one of the things I love about this, it is magnetic. It does have a soft kind of squishy bottom, so it's not going to damage your surfaces. It's not going to slide around too much. But the magnets, like, first of all, they're strong, but you can smack them together and they don't break because they're in these great little sleeveys. All right, I say that and then I like, see, I got a little cocky there, didn't I? I broke my little sleevey. There we go. Okay, so, but they have these little tabs and they kind of go, oh, let me get on camera. They kind of go up on this side. So when you put them down, those tabs stick up and it's easier to get them off. So you're not trying to slide them. You don't have to wrap them in tape, any of that kind of stuff. They're good to go. Okay, let us grab our stamp set. There it is. I'm like, where's my sample? Because I don't know what I'm doing. All right. So we are going to use these longer pieces to make a cool repeating background. So I'm going to put the first one. Oops. I actually used this one first. And then we're going to take this small plate, and it has 2 holes up at the top, and the rest of these guys are springy. So we're going to put those on those holes. We're going to pick up our stamp and ink it up. So we're going to start with Azure Afternoon. And I find the easiest way to do this when you're close to the edge up there is to just take the stamp pad to the stamp. I'm going to put that back in those holes. We're going to stamp it down. Oops, it didn't stamp all the way. The cool thing is I can put that right back in those holes and it'll stamp in the exact same position. So I fixed it. So if you're one of those people that perhaps your sentiments don't always stamp correctly, maybe you're losing strength in your hands, this is a great tool for you as well. Okay, so now we're going to ink that up again. And I'm not going to go to the very next set of holes, or am I? I have to remember how I did this. Yes, I am. So we'll go to the very next set of holes. We'll stamp it again. And we'll keep going like that. I won't make you watch me do all of it. Let's clean off that stamp. Again, all of this, just take your chamois or a baby wipe with no alcohol, because that'll dry out your stamps and everything else and yucky. I'll just take that right off of everything. The platform itself as well is, a plastic, so it just wipes clean as well. Then let's take that chain. We're going to put that right in the middle of those 2. So if you just put the stamp where you want it and then pick it up with the plate, you know it'll go right back in that spot when you line up those holes, right? So we will ink that one up, line it up in those holes, and stamp it down. And again, I did not do a good job there. Perfect. Okay, so that is how you do a repeating background. And I have a couple other tips for you, and then I'll show you the completed card. You guys, I make such a mess, and then I'm like, where's my stuff? Okay, I'm gonna leave those open for a minute. So next I wanna show you how, let's say you wanna stamp on a circle, and it's already punched out, and you wanna make sure you got that stamp aligned perfectly, right? So what you can do here, you can take that big plate. You can also do this with the small plate. So I'm going to stamp this wavy, swooshy textured thing. I'm not sure what to call it. Very technical here, only the good information for you guys. So you will pick up your stamp on there. And now I know that's exactly where that circle is. So I can take that circle that I already cut out, and you can just keep a bunch of templates of all of your different die cuts or punches. All right, and now I'm going to ink this up. This one's a little easier because it is in the middle of here, and I'm not near these feet. And you'll notice I got some ink on the plate, and it's not a big deal because it'll get nowhere near there. Now, here's the cool part that I love about this. Even though I put that plate down, it has not stamped a thing yet because it is sitting up above that surface. And this applies if you have the red rubber stamps too, it'll work on those too. So now until I press down, it will not transfer the ink. So voila, perfectly on my circle. So that one's a little less of a must-have, but it's a fun thing if you've got some shapes already cut out and you want to make sure you don't waste them and if you get your stamping correct. That's a really nice feature. Okay, so we have that. And then one more thing I wanted to show you. And for that, I pulled out my Words of Beauty stamp set so that I could get some sentiments, because that's one thing about this bundle. It does not have sentiments, so you'll need to use a different stamp set for that. We all have stamp sets, right? So actually, I'm going to put the platform completely away for a second here. I'm just going to put that down. Oh, we need to clean that back. Nobody told me to clean that. Okay. Let's put that chain away. Get back on the chain gang. All righty. So for this one, I want the It's Your Birthday. It's your birthday. Yeah, I don't really rap. So we're at a party. Like, it's your birthday. Is that it, right? I don't know. Sorry, I'm more of a singer than a rapper. Okay, so we've got this. Actually, I don't even need to do that because it's going to pick up the paper too. So let's take our red. And this is something, so it's in the middle here. It's not held up by these feet. I can take this right to my stamp pad and ink it up that way. So if I get my little strip of paper, and again, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I want to make sure this is, completely lined up. You can set this on here and say, okay, I think it's lined up. And it has not stamped yet because it's sitting above the cardstock. So you can really set it there and then take a look from a bunch of different angles and then say, okay, I think I got it right. And voila, perfectly centered sentiment. Okay, so now that's all the stamping that I'm doing for this project. Let's close up ink pads so we don't cause a mess, right? And let me show you the finished card. So there is our repeating background. There is our circle with our fun little wave effect. And then I've got the It's Your Birthday banner just coming right out of it. So again, a lot of different color. There's no metallic, there's no black or gray or anything like that, right? It's all just gorgeous and vibrant and ready to send to anybody on your list. They don't have to be a gearhead. All right. So now, do you think this bundle would still have trouble being girly and pretty? Think again. Because I took it and made flowers. So we've got our chains here that I just stamped in a nice garden green. I've got some two-tone cardstock at the bottom, and then I just cut a bunch of the gears and the centers out of really pretty girly flower colors and made flowers. Now, I want to give you another tip here. I stamped these chains by hand with just a regular block, okay? And I started from this end. Okay, first of all, let me tell you something else. I forgot. ADHD. So I dry fit this like I usually like to do, and I decided where I wanted my little gear flowers to be. And then once I had them, I lifted them up and made a little pencil mark about in the middle of where they were. And that way I knew where the chain stems needed to end on each of them. Okay, so that's the first tip. The second tip then was I started to stamp these from down here, and I stamped them going up and down like this. And you'll notice that these two are leaning a little. Apparently the wind is coming from that direction. So after I did these two and realized they were leaning, I realized, oh, if I put my card this way and stamped them, it was easier for me to have them going straight. You could also use your stamp positioner, absolutely. But if you're freehanding, that is a good tip. I think it's harder to line up vertically than it is to line up horizontally. At least it was for me. So there is your little tip for my girly gears. All right. And then finally, I want to show you something that I think you would be surprised is even made with this stamp set in this bundle. And that is my little quilt card here. So if you remember, we've got this cool chevron stamp. And I took my stamp positioner, and I won't be able to show you tonight, but I will do that in another video. I took my stamp positioner and stamped around. I moved the cardstock each time, so the stamp was hitting the same spot. I was just turning the cardstock. And then I turned it on an angle and stamped these four, and then repositioned the stamp and stamped these four, just by turning the cardstock each time. Then I just added my little circle sentiment, and voila. So again, don't discount the gears and textures just because you think, well, I'm going to make 3 masculine cards for, you know, my brother and my husband, and like, that's it. No, you can totally make all occasion, girly, kid, teen, adult cards with this bundle. Absolutely. Let me pull all of these back in for you so you can get a good overview of all of them. Absolutely. Like I said, I am a steampunk fan, so I saw this and immediately went, yes. Like, say yes to the dress, except it's a stamp set. But yeah, you can see the variety of looks that you can get from this bundle. It is so versatile, so much more than you might think already. This bundle is featured in this month's class, where we're going to turn it into 4 finished cards. So yeah, definitely check that out. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I'll put the details. Let me pop up here so I can talk to you. Hello. I'll put the details and links to class and everything else in Tuesday's email, tomorrow's email. You can subscribe to that at stampernan.com. You can also check out all of my social links and everything else, and you can find the starter kit deal on there as well. So all links, that'll lead you to all my links for everything. So, all right, I will see you again soon. Happy stamping.